Thank you very much for this chance to share a little bit of what my journey has been like. I'm privileged to be a mentor to one Lamek Makula from Zimbabwe. So, hi Lamek, a shout out to you if you're in the audience. First of all, I'd like to start by saying that we may all be in the same industry, all pursuing communications as a career, but our paths are really very different. Some of us have the opportunity to really have a very straight path in life, but others have to overcome some challenges to get to where they are. I can trace back my interest in communications to when I was a really young boy in primary school. And it began when one of my teachers of English put me in front of the school to recite a poem. I was so nervous. I was so anxious. I remember tears rolling down my eyes because I'd never really stood in front of people to speak. But I gathered courage and I pulled through that one moment. And even as I share this story, I'd like you to reflect on the fact that life by design is not one big stage. It is made up of small little moments that contribute to building the person that we become. So after this incident at school, I slowly by slowly developed interest in poetry because this is what was introduced to me. And slowly by slowly, I developed confidence. I became more comfortable speaking in front of people. So the second little moment I would like to highlight is when I moved from just reciting poems to creatively thinking about how can I express my ideas. And I got into composing poems. So with the opportunity to recite poems at national school competitions, I started drafting my own composition poems. And over time, that helped me to begin building my writing skills. And then later on in life, after I finished high school, I got engaged in youth leadership. So I was very active, interacting with young people and being able to speak up because of the opportunities I had earlier in life to stand in front of people. I became a leader to the point I was elected to the national board of one of the leading youth organizations in the country. So at that stage, then I got another opportunity to use communications in a way that helped to shape decisions, in a way that helped to shape policies. At that level, I got exposure to interact with people and to build my skills around relationship building, to build my skills around public speaking, because I had to then articulate the issues of young people. The next little moment I'll highlight is when I got into volunteerism. As a scout, one thing we do a lot is lend our time and our skills to different community activities. And there was this moment in back in 2011 when a local NGO was setting up and they were looking for young people to help them with reaching out to schools, reaching out to youth groups with message on environmental protection and climate change. And I was given the opportunity to sort of coordinate young people, and I took this as a chance to again learn a new set of communication skills. And here I got the opportunity to practice photography, to learn skills in video editing, to learn skills in graphic design, and I used these to support the project. And then later on, because of these little experiences, an opportunity came up where I currently work. One colleague was heading on maternity leave and they needed somebody to fill in a temporary position, 5 months for her. And I was given the opportunity. So I took up a temporary position as a partnerships coordinator. And my roles at that point were to help manage relationships with different donors who were supporting various projects that the organization was doing. And at that stage, again, I got another exposure to further build relationships, to learn about project management, report writing, and such, and also supporting events. And during that temporary position, I also supported the colleague that was there at that time with writing stories and designing newsletters. I did that 5 months and I left. And then exactly 1 year later, the guy who was handling communications resigned to seek greener pastures. And guess what? I received a call. Hi, Nelson. We have an open position here. Would you be interested? That was the conversation. And of course, I was very excited because it's a place I had been to, and I felt really comfortable, and I connected with the mission of the organization. I went back, and then I had my first full-time job at the beginning of February 2015 as a public relations and communications officer. This opportunity then became my first stab at doing communications in a corporate setup. And there's a lot of challenges that actually come with that. I can point to one of the things that I really had to navigate through at that moment was the fact that this guy who resigned, he came into the office like on a day like this and submitted his resignation and he left. I inherited a position where there was nobody to induct me because the person who would have inducted me had already gone. I inherited a strategic plan that I had to implement without basically no knowledge about what influenced the choice of decisions that led to the strategy. But determined, I took it up as a challenge. I began to find my way out. So I literally had to carve my way out in the organization. I had to reestablish the communications function within the organization. I was like a jack of all trades. You were one person, you have to do writing, you have to do social media, you have to do photography, you have to do videography, and basically everything communications. And that took me back to, those little moments that I've been sharing with you. And it made me realize how important small opportunities that come our way in life contribute towards building the whole of us. For instance, if I had not volunteered my skills in that local community organization and had the opportunity to learn photography, videography, and graphic design, I would not be in a position to utilize them in this first job that I got. Since then, 2015, I've been working in the same organization. It's been almost 9.5 years now. I've been promoted 2 times. Right now, I serve as a senior manager, communications and partnerships. And as you can see from the title, it's not just communications. There is more to it. So along the way, I ended up taking up new responsibilities because the organization was also lowly staffed. I took up functions relating to advocacy. So really helping to build our advocacy portfolio and to ensure that as an institution we are able to contribute towards shaping decisions at different levels. I had to take up roles of fundraising, where now my communication skills became useful in trying to pitch, project ideas, to pitch for opportunities, to get resources to support the organizational activity. To date, I can say that it's been such a ride. It's been a journey full of a lot of learning. It's been a journey full of a lot of mistakes. It's been a journey of taking up new responsibilities, new challenges, because I believe that every opportunity is a chance to learn, whether vertically or horizontally. For instance, if you take up a new role in advocacy, for example, it's an opportunity to utilize your communication skills in a new way. If you take a new responsibility in the area of partnerships, it's an opportunity for you to utilize your skills in a way that helps to bring out value to your different stakeholders. And this journey so far, summarized, I could say it's been characterized by 4 things. And number one for me is determination, because overcoming failure really demands that every time you fall, you're able to pick yourself up and to learn and to move on. I have made a lot of mistakes. I have fallen many times, but I have not allowed that to dampen my determination to become a better person. Because if I don't grow, then I cannot do better. The second thing that has really characterized my journey so far is a lot of sacrifices. When you're focusing on your dreams, you really don't want a scenario whereby something gets you off. You must really be able to make sacrifices. You must exercise delayed gratification and invest your time, your resources, your energy in things that really matter to you. If you really want to achieve success, then you must know that success comes at a price. And that price is the efforts, is the sacrifices you make to ensure that you deliver on your tasks on time. It's the sacrifices you make to ensure that your stakeholders are well informed and things like that. And then it's a journey that has also been characterized by a lot of learning. I began my public relations and communications career without formal education in that field. By the time I was taking up that first job, I had no certificate, I had no diploma, I had no degree in communications. But I got the job based on the little moments I had accumulated over time. And somebody saw that I had the skills and the potential to grow in that area. And I was given the opportunity. With that opportunity, then I had to make a commitment to myself to learn. So immediately I got the job in February. In March, in April, I had enrolled for a degree program. So I was working while at the same time studying. For 4 years, that was my life. I would leave work at around 5 o'clock, get into class at 6 o'clock, leave at 9 o'clock to go home. And the cycle would repeat for 4 years. It was challenging, but I had to do it because I knew that for me to continue performing in that role, then I had to up my skills. And even beyond that, I've been very keen on investing in professional certification courses, online training, and basically interacting with people in the field to also learn from others' experiences. But also, lastly, my career so far has been characterized by a lot of support from so many people. I have had people who genuinely believed in my abilities and gave me the opportunities, even when I was the least qualified candidate. But then, even in those instances, I had to prove to myself and to them that indeed I have what it takes, to be successful in that role. And these are people I would go to for advice. These are people I would bounce off ideas. Like when I'm building up a campaign, I would share ideas with them. They would advise me. These are people who could speak on my behalf in places where I couldn't be. So that is one big lesson I have learned, that for you to also succeed, you need people to work with you. If nobody had given me a chance, then I wouldn't be speaking to you today. And yeah, so this has been my career journey so far. 9 years of straight work in the international non-profit sector. As I said at the beginning, life is accumulation of many little moments, and it's those little moments that have gotten me to where I am today. And this is my journey. Yours may be very different. Don't look at me and say that you want to be like Nelson. Instead, look at my journey and pick something that would be useful for you and that you can use to craft your own journey. Each of us is very unique, and we need to be proud of our unique identities even as we shape our own career paths. Like I said in the beginning, life is made up of many little moments, and it is how we manage those many little moments that determine how successful we are going to be. For instance, if you assume a role and you cannot handle the small tasks, how do you expect that you'll be trusted with the bigger responsibilities? If you cannot do basic things like treating people well, your colleagues, even those that are lower than you, how do you expect that you'll be able to make decisions at an institutional level that affect these people that you're not treating well? So for me, it is those little moments that really count. In my current role, I am part of the senior management, and I have the chance to contribute to decisions that are affecting the entire organization. We work in sub-Saharan Africa. I support our member organizations across 42 countries. From that person who came in without an experience in communications, without prior formal education in communications, to now being able to utilize communications to strategically drive the organization. Clearly for me, between that point of starting to where I am right now, it is those little moments that have been that. So my message to us is that let us not despise the small opportunities we come across. Whether it's to volunteer, whether it's to take up a new role, whether it's to provide leadership when no one is providing leadership, take them and use them to grow yourself. I'll leave you with a story for you to ponder on. A story is told about Mr. Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company. He was hiring some engineers, and normally they went through the interview process, and he was left with two candidates to choose from. The candidates had both good grades, they performed very well in the interview, and so he invited them for dinner. So he had to make a decision. So they went into a restaurant, sat down, ordered their food, and enjoyed a meal. During the meal, they had just very general discussions about life, about understanding the candidates. They really didn't talk about the business or the work that these guys are going to do. And in the end, yeah, they finished their dinner and they got up. So on the way out, Mr. Ford turned to one of the candidates and told him that you are hired, and to the other one that you're not hired. And this guy who didn't get the job was so shocked. So he at least gathered the courage to ask why. So he asked Mr. Ford, why did you hire my friend and not me? Yet during the dinner, we didn't even discuss work. We didn't even discuss engineering. We didn't talk about cars. He was really disturbed by this. So Mr. Ford turned to him and told him that I hired your friend for two reasons. First reason was that when we were having dinner, he tasted his steak first before he added salt. For you, you went on, picked the salt and just poured it over your steak. I like people who try out things first before they make a change. The second reason why he hired the guy was your friend was very polite. He would say thank you to the waiters whenever they served us. But for you, you were only polite when you were speaking to me. The waiters were very invisible to you. So those are the two reasons why the guy got it. Which of the two candidates are you? So even as we want to grow into our careers and become the professionals we are, let us not forget that we are human beings. We need to treat people with respect because we are humans before we become the professionals. So we really need to look at how we build relationships. Veronica talked about managing relationships. So how we build those relationships because they are going to determine how we progress on our career path. So that's one thing I like to leave you with. Thank you very much for that question from Ruth. Picking up and getting started in such a situation is very challenging, very tough because who wants to go into a place and the first thing you meet is situations that are making you rethink whether you made the right choice to take the job, especially if such opportunity comes in an international space where there are so many people looking at you, there are so many high expectations. One thing that helped me to pull through is the determination to actually want to succeed in that role. We may experience challenges, but it is how we view those challenges that determine whether we surmount them or not. So the mentality for me was very critical. The second thing is that, you're always provided with a probation period, those first 3 months for you to get to understand things. For me, those were very critical months. Why? Because I use them to talk to people, talk to colleagues, people who've been there, get to understand how things have been happening, what would they like to see change. And that helped me to gather insights that then I used to shape my journey forward. The third thing I did was to really invest time in practicing those skills. If it is photography, I would ensure that I took photos almost on a daily basis so that I try and improve as I go along. If it's writing, I ensure that at least every week I wrote a story. And that kept me going. That gave me the opportunity to constantly improve. The other thing that I did was really getting support because organization I work with is an international organization and we have colleagues from other parts of the world who had been in that communications role for a period of time. So I reached out to them to try and understand what they'd been doing, get to learn some lessons from them, what challenges they had been facing, and that helped me to sort of form a support group of colleagues in the profession whom I would also regularly go back to get inspiration and the push to move on. So those are some of the things that really helped me to navigate through that time. But bottom line for me is if your mindset is not tuned with the desire to fully succeed in that role, then it may be even more difficult. Thank you very much.